Hello, all you hardcores. How are you doing? Big P here. Today I'm joined by Chris from Chorley. How are you doing, Chris?
How are we doing, Russ? You right, mate?
What's going on? Chris?
Don't know about you, mate, but I'm ready to rip it up, I think.
You're not happy?
Listen, there's a lot of guests that come on here, Russ, very politely spoken, and, I won't put it as elegantly as these guys today. I'm going to rip it up, mate. I'm going to chew them up and spit them out.
Oh, yeah. Go on, Chris.
I've had enough, mate. I'm fuming, mate. I've had enough.
Oh, yeah.
The shenanigans, the absolute bottle jobs.
Yeah.
Kill,
Not
mate.
good, is it?
Well, I don't even know where to start, Russ. Where do you want to start?
Well, we need to start with the can man. Anybody who wants it can get it, as long as they're over 40 with COVID. What's going
on? Let's wind it back just a little bit to the start of last week when we had old Gareth A. Davis coming out. Joshua's going to step aside. He's going to step aside. He got played, didn't he? He got played like a fiddle.
He got played by the Gypsy King.
Listen, he got played like a fiddle, mate. And now, Skid Row for Gareth A. Davis now, isn't it? Well, I mean, where does that leave him now?
Well, it leaves him on Skid Row. What about Michelle Phelps? You know, the new 15 stone Michelle Phelps. Have you seen her? The American hippo. Have you seen size of her? What's happened?
Listen, like Michelle Phelps, like I feel sorry for her sometimes because some of things that said about her, it can come across quite harsh. But you got to remember when you put yourself out there, and you pure like rimming certain fighters, and we know who. We don't have to go in on it. But
we know, mate. We know what's going on, don't we?
We know the score, don't we? I mean, when you put yourself out there, and you get this unlimited access, and you don't ask the right questions, you put yourself in the firing line. I mean, Coogan gets it enough. Old Coogie there, he gets in the firing line enough, doesn't he? And we give you some stick to Coogan, so it doesn't matter.
You haven't seen brass neck on Coogan though. He's got the hide of a rhino, and the brass neck on him is unbelievable.
Hung like Johnny.
I don't know about that, but I'm on about the brass neck on him. Because he's got these people on hook, and they're not asking proper questions. But Eddie's made his son look a tool in that interview today because Warren's paid the 10%, hasn't he?
Yeah. Oh, it's.
So
I was watching this edit. I was watching the Hills interview yesterday. It come out at lunchtime yesterday, didn't it? And as from what I can gather, he's just tying himself in knots, isn't he? I mean, he's just talking in riddles. He's just tying himself in knots. But one week he's saying one thing, the next week he's saying the other. And I'm just going to say,
mate. He's like Boris.
The silence is deafening, though, isn't it?
Listen, the can man's got to turn up now. Otherwise, that's it.
One thing I want to say about Hills saying, "Oh, I don't want to promote it. It's not my fight." Well, what about him, Canelo? I'm Team Canelo. When Showtime promoted show, but Hills was still there exerting himself into the situation, even though it wasn't his show.
He wouldn't do it at Warren's show for White Fury. He wouldn't dare turn up. He'd get heckled.
Is that far up Canelo's ass? He's eating his food for him.
I think they'd throw a bucket of shit and piss on him, mate, if you turned up there. That you'd be able to cut the press conference with a knife, with Bricktop and Eddie Hills at the press conference. And Old Fury's baying for blood because their relatives are going to fight White. Eddie would need balls. He need a dump truck to arrive there. If you turn up there, Eddie, there must be a dump truck carrying his nutsack.
You're forgetting one thing. Of course he's going to turn up. He's relentless. $1 billion Eddie. We're going to bid aggressively.
How can we say he's relentless when he's never overcome adversity in his life?
Relentless, 12 rounds to success.
When I was a kid, if you'd hurt your leg on, you fell off your bike and you had a gash, you'd go running in, I need this sorting. Your dad would just turn around and say, "Go and get out and play. I've had bigger on the end of my cock." Bigger crazy. You go, all right. Oh, you just carry on, wouldn't you? Could you imagine Eddie? In his private school uniform with hat on and that, grazing his leg. Little Lord Roy.
It's not looking good for Eddie now. It's coming to end at line now, isn't it?
His reputation's now on Skid Row. Forget about money; they're all millionaires. This lot. Reputation run about and what they stand for and all this bullshit they've given us. You know what I mean? Dylan White's got the opportunity to be the best of his era. All he's got to do is beat Fury and then Joshua or Usyk, and he's the best of this era, Dylan White. Oh, why would you not want that?
Well, this is the thing I can't gather with Dylan White. Mr. Can man, anybody who wants it can get it. He's saying 1,000-day mandatory. Not true.
It ain't true.
He's not even been mandatory, has he?
Ortiz and Ruiz were above him at rankings if you go back 3 years. Because I put it on channel, didn't I, with WBC? Never mandatory, never called. They were never mandatory, and it were never called. It was something that he had going on in his head. You know, like Audley Harrison, he keeps going on about he lost his superpowers and that, but he was Superman. And well, that's in Audley's little tiny mind, isn't it? That he used to fly around the sky at night, patrolling the area to make sure it's safe. And we've got Dylan White. He's got it in his head that he's 3-year mandatory. His head's gone.
Russ, we all know about stories, don't we? Spencer X, aka the Knowledge. Daniel Kinham's godparents to be son. What were it? Fantasy Island.
Yeah.
Well, listen, all I want to say is Dylan.
Talk about if it weren't for these lot, you know, telling whoppers daily.
Dylan, all we got to say is, where's the B sample? 1,000-day mandatory. We're on,
what is it, 500 odd days? Sample? Where's that B sample?
700 days, Russ.
Huh?
100 days, it's been missing that B sample, innit? Something like that.
Was it 2018, was it, or 19? I think it was.
It was 19. It was about.
So
about
it's 3 years this summer,
19.
isn't it? It's 3 years in summer, June or something, June or July or something, isn't it? 3 year. So it's 2.5 years, over 2.5 years. This B sample, it must be coming back on a tortoise. It's coming on a tortoise.
What I think they've done is they've done the sample, and then they've sent it to a laboratory on Mars, and it's going back in orbit now. We're waiting on it still. It's going back into orbit now.
It's come back and it's got kryptonite in it, and that Dillian is superhuman.
Listen, the thing is though, where does this put Dylan White now? His reputation's in absolute tatters. Where does he go from here, Russ?
He's got to fight. He's got to fight, mate. The same as Big Meech, right? Big Meech. Big Meech is stalling on Usyk fight, isn't he? He's like, go, like that. But he's coming out with big statements. But they called rematch on October 8th. 4 months ago, they activated the rematch. I know, yeah, what's going on?
It's like, the thing is, you got to look at this. You've got Eddie's 2 main heavyweights. You've got, on one hand, you've got Meech saying he's a Roman killer. I'm a throwback fighter. Look at his record. Who's he actually beat? His top 3 best wins. Vladimir, and he's avoiding Usyk, a blown-up cruiserweight. He's avoiding Usyk now. And we know how good Usyk is, but I'm just saying he's a cruiserweight. You know, he's not a big man like Joshua. He's not a Roman killer, is he?
Do you know who's his best wins? Povetkin.
Well, thing is though, you could say Povetkin. You could say Povetkin, but he's past it, Ross.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, but I'm just going through it at the time. Povetkin, yeah. You'd say Vladimir, and you'd probably say Andy Ruiz, wouldn't you?
Yeah, but it's like Ruiz. Who's his best wins? We're just going around Joshua. In circles here, aren't we?
Joshua.
Yeah, I know, but
and pie eating contest in Mexico.
Tacos.
Taco Bells, is that what they eat, Mexicans?
Is it tacos or quesadilla? It might be nachos, Russ, with a sombrero.
Yeah.
We're going in circles here, though. It's same thing, and then you got Dylan White, the can man. Anybody wants it who can't get it.
No, we don't call him that now. We call him Lone Wolf. Oh, the Lone Wolf. Right, then. Go on, sorry.
I was going to say, he's like Dennis Wolf. He's climbing the hill, isn't he? The Lone Wolf.
Right. Ergovic looks like he's not going to fight tonight on Eubank card. There's no on box reckon. What time is it now? It's gone to 2:15 or something. Yeah. So if Ergovic don't fight tonight, they might get him somebody in at a late notice, but if they don't fight tonight, what does this 14-0 Croatian Olympic bronze medal at the last Olympics, 6'7" big puncher, where does he go? Do they have to make him IBF mandatory? They've got to do, haven't they?
Yeah, the way I look at it, Russ,
but he hasn't fought in that long, has he? So how can they do it? They're breaking their own rules.
But again, though, Russ, like we go back to this thing, you know, it looks to me like they're trying to get him a fight, but nobody wants it.
Yeah.
Everybody's been offered it. It's apple crumble, isn't it?
Yeah. Do you feel that Calla can't deliver for him?
I don't think it's got anything to do with old Scarface. I just think nobody wants fighting.
Scarface?
What, old Tony Montana? So I don't think it's got anything to do with, oh, well, you got Calla, haven't you, mister? I weren't good at boxing back in the day, but I was good on the cobbles.
When Calla does a line, he gets sponsored by Dyson, doesn't he?
I mean, who do you think's a bigger beat nose, Leonard Ellaby or Calla?
Leonard Ellaby would be able to talk more than anybody, wouldn't he? Leonard Ellaby. He is the man.
A nose like a Volkswagen Beetle.
Behave. Right. So do you think that the IBF should penalise people for knocking fights back, or just kick them out the rankings?
The way I look at it, Russ, if you're not going to fight them, what's the point? I think it's get them out of the rankings, because at the end of the day, if you pay your sanctioning fees for fighting, you know, in certain sanctioning bodies, and if you're not going to fight when the opportunity arises, then what's the point in being there? Just messes, aren't they? What I want to know is why are they not offering the fights to the true fighting men? Why is Huey not been offered?
Why is what?
I said, why are they not offering? They're like they want to offer the Hrgovic fight to the likes of Joseph Parker. People are quite happy picking up an easy paycheck fighting going on 40 Derek Chisora. Why are they not ask it to the true fighting men? Somebody like a Huey Fury, somebody who'd actually turn up and give him a fight.
Huey would fight Hrgovic, but they want him to pay peanuts, aren't they?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Good money to fight Hrgovic now. You've got to have good money to fight Hrgovic now. What record he's got. Exactly. I know he hasn't beaten anybody yet, but nobody wants to go near him because they know his Olympic bronze is a banger and he's an hard night, isn't he?
Yeah, well, it's like that. It's like him and like Tony Oka as well. I mean, what happened to Tony Oka? They offered him that fight.
Disappeared off at face at Earth, and Joe Joyce as well. Oh. Joe Joyce, Tony Oka, and Hrgovic, three medalists from Olympics. Nobody wants to go near them, do they?
It's like, I think Fury's not going to end up fighting White. I think Fury's going to end up fighting Joe Joyce.
I don't think he'll want to take Joe Joyce on. Joe Joyce is probably the biggest bogeyman out there, and probably Yoka and Hrgovic. They're bogeymen, them, you know.
Them three, yeah. Because I think personally, you put them three with White and AJ, and more than likely they'll beat them.
Does Hrgovic beat Dylan White?
Smashes him upside down.
Does Yoka beat Dylan White?
Smashes him to pieces.
Does Joyce beat Dylan White?
Puts him on Skid Row.
So Dylan White's easy route is Fury, then Usyk or Joshua to undisputed, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, what I think is going to happen next is I think Hearns told White to keep quiet. They're going to pull Big Meech out the Usyk rematch, and they're going to put them two together. World War II, or call it World War III because it'll be third time.
Yeah.
Joshua versus White. War III.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting.
Or Battle of Britain.
Oh, what?
Or Battle of Britain.
Battle of Britain. Fucking hell.
Call it Battle of Postcodes. Two blokes from different areas of London. Battle of Postcodes. What
do you think to Eubank Williams tonight?
Good fight, you know, Russ. I'm looking forward to it, to be honest with you, mate. It's going to be a good fight.
I am myself, mate. I am.
I think Beans pulled it out there, though, haven't they?
Beans. Do you think Beans scary?
Only a little bit.
Would you be scared if you got in a taxi going back to Beans for a drink and there were Bean, Adam Cattrall, and Ben Shalom? Would you be scared?
I mean, it's terrifying. Them three in a room's terrifying enough, but I can only think of what make it even more scary. The Gab being there.
The guard, I forgot him, didn't I?
Oh,
that'd be a
old John
scary
Lennon
evening,
with his
wouldn't
red
it?
glasses.
Hey,
Old John
you
Lennon
forgot
with
to
his
do
red
that.
glasses.
You forgot to do that.
Right, listen, how old is he, Gab? 50 odd year old? Well, he's 60.
Yeah, I don't know.
Gang signs with rose tinted glasses on. I mean, what's all that about? Throwing up gang signs? Like he's some Roman killer.
Do you think the Gads that needs to hand his computer in?
Jesus. Needs and his phone in, his computer, his laptop. Might even have to hand in his bloody Xbox. They'll seize everything from the Gad.
We love the Gad, really, don't we?
Listen, I mean, if it weren't for Gad, we would have nothing to talk about, would we?
I know.
Like a fiddle, and now, I mean, his reputation's in tatters, and you got to remember as well, he was doing stuff for the Zone. He was doing punditry for the Zone. I don't think Old Hills is. I don't think Old Hills is going to be inviting him back, is he?
Oh, okay, now.
He sold AJ Down River with that, didn't he?
Yeah. What did you think to Peter Fury saying boxing's a cringe sport for dickheads that's in it and arse lickers? He says, if you don't want us on show, fuck off. What did you think to that?
He's not wrong though, Pete. Like Peter, straight shooter, straight talker, straight down the line. He just says it how it is. I mean, none of this bullshit and messing about. I mean, like Ben Davison just loves himself, doesn't he? I mean, it's embarrassing. I mean, could you get any further up his own arse?
No.
I mean, what's all that about? I mean, promoting himself.
Food, didn't he, Ben Davison, from a different angle.
I mean, thing is though, it's like, I mean, Julian said it about Hills. I mean, Ben Davison's dying wishes to die in his own arms. I mean, it's just. I mean, I've never known a trainer to come out and make himself exert himself more to put himself in a position more than the fighter.
What did you think to Dominic Ingle the other day walking around Winkerbank in a tight t-shirt and a body warmer with no arms? It was freezing.
What old Flex?
I went by old Flex up near Norman Road, all like that. Fucking hell, man. Walking about with a tight t-shirt on, body warmer on.
All I want to know is, Flex, what do you put in your protein shakes? Hey? Flex, what do you want to put in your... All I want to know is what Flex puts in his protein shakes, because whatever it is, I want some.
Flex just puts rhubarb in, doesn't he? He has to stick a rhubarb on hand all the time. When you have a Snicker or I am a Kit Kat or a Penguin, Flex has to stick a rhubarb. That's the secret, kid. Rhubarb.
Well, you know, I mean, Rushy missing the old good and kangaroo meat.
When Flex goes into Meadowhall, people know he's going to buy a new blender. So all he does is blend. He's the blendinator. Nuts and berries and fruit juice. That's what's in his drinks. The special stuff.
He's another one. I mean, I don't want to go too hard on Ingle because I think sometimes he speaks sense, but he's another one. Setting himself fast car ready and charging people cookbooks. Cookbooks and meal plans.
That's escaped my head. My head for weeks. That looking for fast car ready. That single he brought out. What is that all about? These are grown men in the 50s, you know.
I mean, we were looking.
Flex, what were you doing with that, Flex? What were going on there, mate? Listen, Flex, go and get help. There's help out there for you, you know. There's help out there for that.
I mean, I'm sure Cougar was looking for fast car ready all last week, weren't they? Fast car ready.
Phelps ambushed him though, didn't she?
She got him and pinned him down, didn't she? Had nowhere to escape.
She just sat on him, he couldn't move. Okay then. Liam Williams, has he got a chance tonight? Yes or no?
It depends. I mean, it depends what Eubank Jr. is going to turn up. If we're going to get the old Eubank, the ruthless aggression and bombarding the punches and these lethal uppercuts, I think Eubank might edge it, but if we get Eubank turning up doing a Roy Jones impression, I think it's there for Williams to take it.
Yeah.
I think the last fight we seen Junior in, he was so lapsadaisical, and he was missing that spark of what made me enjoy watching in the first place. Them barrages of like combinations and that aggression. It was entertaining to watch, and he just looked that last fight. He just looked lost. He didn't look himself. Looked like he was doing something that he shouldn't be doing. He's not a boxer, is he, Eubank? He's a puncher.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's that. You know, he goes head hunting, Eubank. You know, he's not a slick Pernell Whitaker, is he?
He's not a sweet pea. He's not a sweet baked bean, to be honest.
He's not a big Meech. He's a proper Pernell.
Big Meech were doing all slipping and sliding, wasn't he? What's he called? Robert Garcia, wasn't he? We're doing all that stuff, trying to be sweet pea.
Don't forget that boxing masterclass against Ruiz. Did old Johnny Nelson throwing a jab walking backwards? Entertainer.
You mean Johnny Nelson, the entertainer?
Only man to get booed out of his home stadium.
God, you're ruthless today.
Beer at him, weren't they?
Yeah. Hey?
They're throwing beer and drinks at him, weren't they, against Carlos de Leon?
Yeah, like what? Johnny Nelson's only the second person in Sheffield to be smuggled out in front of a baying crowd with a blanket on his head. You know, first one, why don't you? Peter Sutcliffe.
There's another stinkinator.
Peter Sutcliffe murdered 13 women and tried the Yorkshire Ripper. They caught him in Sheffield, didn't they?
Yeah, all right. Yeah.
You know that, mate.
Went over my head, that, Ross. That's bad.
Yeah, they had to smuggle him out with a blanket on his head. They did the same to Johnny Nelson, didn't they? Bless him. He still came back and won a world title, though, didn't he?
It has to be given credit, but credit him for stinking out arenas.
He developed a style, right, that were within the rules that worked for him. So you can't knock it, can you?
He's another Galahad, very skillful, good at what he does, but
Galahad's 50 times better than Johnny Nelson. 50 times. He's a special fighter, but he needs to be more aggressive all the time, doesn't he? He's got all tricks in. Oh, he's a surgeon, mate. Him.
He's got the tools, and I know I've gone on record saying he's a good fighter on here before. He's got all the tools. He lacks that killer instinct when he needs it. There's so many times where he could get somebody out of there, but he just chooses, just keep plodding on and just take.
It's like he's practicing his art, isn't it?
Yeah. It's one of them though. It's just
frustrating.
He has them in knots. He has them in knots half the time, and just misses that killer bit just to go in for it.
When you're paying 80 quid a ticket, you want all action, don't you?
Compelling.
A cacophony of noise.
You ready for lift-off tonight, Russ?
Ready for lift-off? Welcome to the Blue Ribbon Division. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, to be honest. We'll get this out just beforehand. Me and Rocky
give him something to keep him entertained.
Keep him entertained, Rocky.
all our loving, caring viewers, Russ, and all the haters as well.
Right, we're gonna go. We're gonna speak about what's that? Dennis's show now next week. The fights that are announced out of the 10 are 7. 3 of them are debuts on the own fighters. Dennis needs to come out and tell us if these are white collar fighters, don't you, Den? Because nobody's asking him that question. But what's that? He's getting on for 40 debuts now in a year. That's a miracle, isn't it? You think? Who's handing out these licenses willy-nilly, and are these kids any good?
It's so frustrating with Dennis because if he could just, he has got some talent there. If he could just wind back the clock and just work his magic like he used to, he's got it there, hasn't he, Russ? Some good fights to be made there.
Or is this now what the era? I mean, I'm not having a go at Max, but Max has now got a pro license now. And he's going to have it hard. And Max is like, well, he knows he's going to be a journeyman. He's admitting that, and he just wants to make a few quid. But does it sit well with you? Don't me?
No. Max, come on, listen, mate. Think about your health, mate. It's not worth it.
Yeah, but how many chances are these kids going to have who are like 20? There's one guy on Dennis's show, right? He's not on 26. What if he got really badly hurt 3 or 4 more defeats down the line? Would they say, well, we used to drag him in after 5 fights and say, but your idea is that we need to start getting a win. Yeah. But what if it goes to 30 losses, the kid's never had a win and he's hurt? What then? Who's going to put their hands up and say they're at fault?
It's not going to be Robert Smith.
The pool of fighters, the promoters now, and even new promoters are having to work with is very bare, isn't it?
Yeah.
What's it going to be like in 5 years? What's it going to be like in 5 years?
Well, boxing's on its way to a recession, isn't it, mate? As Big TC says, it's on its way out, isn't it? Boxing.
Well, we're not told that, are we? We're not told that by Bean and people in the interviews, are we? We're told.
But it's like
booming.
You know, we keep, you know, you think about it, Russ, and you know, it's a matter of time before somebody does get seriously hurt, you know. But even if somebody does get seriously, who's going to come out and answer for it? Big Robert Smith ain't going to, is he? Mr. Oh, we don't have to answer to the fans. We just do what we want.
Well, they'll all be 80 if it packs up. That old men, they've had a good run. They've been sponging off boxing years then. Robert Smith's a failed boxer and he's just sponged off at board years. That's all they are. Poncers, woodpeckers. Peck, 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 peck. You know, like a woodpecker pecking at a tree. Well, that's what these have been doing, sucking at people's blood for years. Smith, Charlie Giles, and like, isn't that right?
It's like Hills. What were it? That day, God rest his soul, died. Old Hills was straight out exerting himself again, straight on an interview, straight in front of a camera. Oh, I'm never working with any failed drug cheats ever again. Goes on to promote Povetkin for 2 fights. Dylan White with his B sample still in orbit, frozen in kryptonite. Canelo, Mr. fucking, you know, my beef's been infected with, you know, been contaminated. And the list goes on and on. Russ, who am I missing? Am I missing anybody, Russ? Kid Galahad. Spike me drink.
Forever with it all. What about that? Who is it? Jarrell Miller.
Viagra, says old Miller. Was taking Viagra.
What I want to know is what Dennis is going to do about this show. Home fighters that are announced, 25-3, away fighters. None of them have got a winning record. 27 wins, 208 losses. How's that? Is that acceptable?
The thing is, Russ, there's only one way to fix
this. This is on TV, isn't it, or Fight Zone? Is that acceptable for a subscription?
No, it's not. It's not. And we know, Russ, but the only answer for this, and it's same with your Warrens, your Hearns. I'm not going to say Hennessy because he's on a good run at the minute. There's only one way to stop this, Russ, and it's you don't pay for it, you don't tune in, get a dodgy box or get a stream on the internet and just watch it. I'm not saying do it.
Yeah, but you've got to look at this show. Cash Ali's IBF European champion. He's not got a fight. Dave Allen's on card. He's not got a fight. Zach Miller 7-0. Them 3 have not got fights.
Exactly.
And it's the fight next Saturday. Is that good or is it bad?
It's on its arse, mate. It's horrible. I mean, how long's old Den gonna keep Cash Ali and the white wino away from each other?
Why don't we just put them in together? They could have a trilogy in 12 months and all earn a few quid. Everybody would buy into it. I'd be bigging it up on here daily. It's a good fight, Cash Ali, Dave Allen.
This is the thing. I mean,
fans of action.
I mean, he's keeping them apart. The master tactician waiting to pull the trigger, and when he pulls the trigger, it's going to be too late. They're going to be in retirement home before they fight, or it's going to be another Khan and Brook, isn't it? He's down the line.
Well, Dave's struggling already now, isn't he? Sounds like Scooby Doo.
Listen, we know Dave should have been out. I mean, you know, we give him some stick, Dave, and I've come on here many times and I said he should have been out of the game a long time ago, Dave. But he had his opportunity, Russ, and he didn't take it. He was loyal to Hills, but there's no loyalty in boxing.
I think Eddie will pop round and throw Dave a few quid if he's in area.
Oh, old Hills.
10 years from now, if Eddie bumped into Dave, would he give him a few quid for old time's sake?
But he'd say he would. His fighters like his family, Russ.
Well, they fought. Listen,
what were it? Around at the Smiths brothers,
Eddie
having
loves
a brew.
himself, mate. Eddie loves himself. He don't love anybody else.
No, it's true though, isn't it? Oh, yeah. around the Smith brothers' house having a brew the other day. You can't even get him a fight. How much he cares about him, doesn't it?
Yeah. There's a rumor doing rounds that somebody's going to come out of the closet anytime now. Who do you think it'd be? You said yeah.
My opinion on this, Russ. There's only one man.
Oh.
Personally, Hills.
Eddie Hills.
So far up Canelo's ass, he could eat his food for a minute.
Leave a comment. Who you think needs to come out of that closet? Because do you think it'd tarnish the sport if it did happen, or do you think people like Bean and Hills would be all over it like Donkey Kong?
I mean, listen. End of the day, it's a sensitive topic. Personally, I believe if somebody is gay, it's whatever. It doesn't bother me. It's never has bothered me. If you are who you are at the end of the day, and what you're into is what you're into, it doesn't affect the way I look at things. But we know what these fuckers are like. They tell it as it's a great story and stuff, innit? Instead of just leaving it as what it is. They tell it as it's a great story and he's an ambassador. I mean, it's like Terry Harper. I mean, what the fact she's a lesbian? What's that got to do with anything boxing related? She's a fighter at the end of the day. What's that got to do with anything?
Yeah.
But they'll sell it as that, won't they?
Yeah, but they're not doing it for men, are they? Well, we're on about equality here, aren't we? If women are coming out admitting it, why don't men?
It's a sad reality of of the world we live in at the minute, Russ. It's not good, mate. No. I mean, it's like you look at like rugby players. There's a few rugby players who are out there, who are gay and they won't come out, and it's horrible to see, mate, because they're in such an aggressive sport, and the same with boxing. It's such a it's raw combat at its finest, isn't it? It goes back thousands of years, fighting, and it's just a shame that to come out saying you're gay or whatever, it's looked down upon in such, because it's such a raw sport and such a brutal sport. But it shouldn't be like that, should it?
Yeah.
Think about it.
Exciting times ahead. Okay. What do you think about the state of YouTube reporting on boxing at the moment?
Tatters, absolute shambles, isn't it?
Absolute what?
I mean, it's absolute tatters, isn't it? Absolute shambles. I mean, we've had it for the last few years. We got Rob Tebbert, gets him on hook and doesn't even go in for the kill, pulls out, doesn't he?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You got Michelle Phelps getting access but not asking the right questions. And then you've got Old Hills coming out saying to Coogan, why do you not interrogate Frank like you interrogate me?
I don't think Coogan interrogates Eddie. He lets him off hook all the time.
Exactly. I mean, and then you can look in the comment section and people saying, oh, Coogan never asked her and they are questions. I mean, really? I mean, what happened? Why did you not say, well, Eddie, I thought you had $1 billion and you was going to bid aggressively for Dillian White? Well, it shows what he thinks of Dillian White. He didn't even back him, did he? If that first bid would have won, that Hills would have put in. Dillian White would have not been earning the same money as what he's earning now. It shows how much he thinks of Dillian White.
Yeah, he should have said to Eddie, how many purse bids have you won against Bricktop? And he'd have gone like that.
Listen,
I don't know.
I mean, everybody who's in the know, Russ, like Ultra, all the asylums. We all knew Hills weren't gonna win the purse bid, didn't we? We all knew. We know Eddie loves a purse bid, doesn't he? He's undefeated.
Eddie hates purse bids. He hates it. He doesn't like it for the purse bids. Isn't that right, Eddie?
He's built up a nice little streak now of losing purse bids, aren't they, Hills?
What about Hills and Canelo? Are they going to be working together in the foreseeable future? Yes or no?
I think I look at it, Russ, and we've discussed it before, mate. I think Al Heyman's played a blinder, hasn't he? He's throws Old Hills out.
Do you think that Al Heyman now will be wanting to put Jake Paul on against Canelo to keep Eddie out of the picture? Do you think a monster bid will be coming in for Jake Paul Canelo?
They couldn't make that, surely. They couldn't.
Well, they won't be able to put a belt on line, would they?
No. I mean,
Jake
I don't
Paul's
know.
game enough, isn't he, to take a good hiding now, isn't he?
He'd get paid royally for it, wouldn't they?
Oh my God, it'd been built up as they could do it on, not Titanic, one of them big boats, a big massive ferry, couldn't they, or something?
Big cruise ship.
They could do it on a big cruise ship, couldn't they? Something spectacular.
What would they call it? Two generations collide.
Yeah.
I mean, it'd be a battle of the border, Mexico versus USA. I mean,
yeah.
I don't know how they sell it, but put it past them, Russ. I won't put it past them.
Yeah.
We know what they're like, these people. Personally, I think Al Heyman's played a blinder. He's froze Eddie out, and I think he'd be quite happy to keep paying Canelo just a bit over the top, just to make sure that old Hills can't get his hands on him again.
Yeah, you're probably right. Do you think that Wilder's a good fight against Dylan White?
I mean, well, we know what happens if them two fight, don't we? Yeah. Dylan White will be put into hospital, rushed off to A&E, won't they?
What about Chisora Wilder? Do you think that's a good fight, Chris?
Well, poor Chisora, he's already had his head caved in enough, hasn't he? I don't see why he has to fight again. But Hills again, say coming out with rubbish. I put him in with Wilder.
Yeah.
I mean, what is Eddie's problem? Has he got something against Derek Chisora? I mean, the amount of bad fights he's put him in over the last few years, you think he got something against him, wouldn't you?
Derek turns up for his battles, doesn't he?
I mean, we're not discrediting Derek Chisora. I mean, I like him. I think he's all right, but I think end of the day, enough's enough at the end of the day. I mean, this guy's got a family at home. He's got kids and he's got a wife at home, and he's going to end up. I mean, unfortunately, the way it's going, he's going to end up getting really hurt. And I said this back in December. He's going to end up getting splattered, and it's not going to end well for Derek Chisora the way it's going, and that's just the sad reality of it.
What do you think to Tony Bellew with his column now for DAZN coming out saying that Taylor Serrano's the biggest female fight ever in history?
They all reappear in money. I just want to be left alone. I mean, can Tony Bellew exert himself into any more media than he does now? I mean, can't get him away. I mean, you turn on the TV, he's on SAS. He's on what's he on? He's on Soccer AM. He's even on bloody Sky Sports News from time to time. I mean, and then you go on talk, and then you go on radio, and he's on Talk Sport. You can't get away from him.
The man that never beat a champion.
We know the score, mate. I mean, we've seen the clip, haven't we? You know, who was he roasting? Was it Cleverly that? He's never beat a champion. Well, neither of you, Tony. Always fought for a vacant belt, haven't you?
Cleverly has now, though.
I mean, Tony. I mean, he gets to the dream opportunity against Bakabu, but it's for a vacant. He's not even fighting a world champion. And when he fought real world champions, he got iced.
I don't think that's the biggest female fight. I think Shields and Marshall is. And I think Jonas Harper rematch is a big fight. That's a big fight. That's Natasha Jonas, Terry Harper. Down the line, that's a good fight, that.
I think it. I mean, I'm not saying this in spite because, you know, listen, we don't like Hills and we make it very clear, but of course it's a big fight, but Clarissa Shields and Savannah Marshall, there's already intense beef there. Of course it's a bigger fight. It's intense beef, isn't it, Russ? Them two, Shields and Marshall.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. I don't know where Tony's pulled this from. It's the biggest women's fight ever. I mean, surely. I'm sure Tony, when Tony was on Sky, he was saying that, and when Savannah was signed to Hills, that Clarissa Shields versus Savannah was the biggest fight out there. Look how the tides have changed, eh?
Savannah Marshall, Clarissa Shields is a fantastic fight because Shields are the two different characters, aren't they?
Well.
But so
we all know Bean loves his characters, though, don't we?
Yeah. What a character he is, Matt. Okay then.
Spider's webs.
Right, listen, Chris, I'm going to get off.
Yeah.
All right, I've got loads to do. I want to get ready for boxing. Get this out and get ready for boxing later. Have a good evening, Chris. No doubt I'll probably get some texts off you later or something. All right?
Yeah, I'll speak to you later, mate. Yeah, thanks for having us on, Russ. And yeah, you too, pal. We'll see you.
Mate. Bye. Well, that was Chris Burns from Chorley. Nice kid. So it's only banter, isn't it? Go on then, peace out.